Paddy Corcoran's wife. You know, every village has its stories, the kind that get passed around at the pub over a pint or shared between neighbors leaning over a garden fence. Well, in a quaint little village nestled among Ireland's rolling green hills, there lived a man named Paddy Corcoran and his wife, Bridget. Paddy was the sort you'd be glad to call a friend, hard-working, always quick with a joke, and known for his hearty laugh that could warm even the coldest of days. Bridget, his wife, was a spirited woman with a smile that could light up a room and a heart as big as the sky. But life has a way of throwing us curveballs when we least expect them. One spring, Bridget started feeling unwell. It wasn't anything drastic at first, just a bit more tired than usual, a little off her food. Probably just a passing bug, they thought. But as days turned into weeks, she didn't get any better. In fact, she seemed to be getting worse. Maybe we should call Dr. O'Leary, Paddy suggested one evening as they sat by the fire. Bridget was wrapped in a shawl, staring into the flames. "I'm sure it's nothing," she replied softly. "Just need a bit of rest." But rest didn't help. Bridget grew paler and the sparkle in her eyes dimmed. Paddy was beside himself with worry. He tried everything, made her favorite meals, brought her fresh flowers from the meadow, even attempted to tell her the silly jokes that always used to make her laugh. Nothing seemed to lift her spirits. Finally, they called in Dr. O'Leary. He examined Bridget thoroughly, asking all sorts of questions, and in the end, he scratched his head. "I can't find anything physically wrong," he admitted. "Sometimes the mind affects the body in ways we don't understand. Perhaps there's something weighing on you?" Bridget just shook her head. "I don't know," she whispered. "I just feel empty." Word of Bridget's mysterious illness spread through the village. Neighbors stopped by with casseroles and well wishes, but none could offer a solution. One afternoon, as Paddy was tending to the garden, an elderly woman he'd never seen before approached the gate. She was petite, with silver hair that framed a kind face, and she wore a cloak of deep emerald green. "Good day to you," she called out in a voice that was surprisingly strong. "Good day," Paddy replied, wiping his hands on his trousers. "Can I help you with something?" "Perhaps it's I who can help you," she said, her eyes meeting his. "I've heard about your wife's troubles." Paddy raised an eyebrow. "News travels fast around here." She smiled gently. "That it does. May I speak with her?" He hesitated for a moment but sensed no ill intent. "All right, come on in." Inside, the woman sat by Bridget's bedside, taking her hand. "You've been feeling unwell," she said softly. Bridget nodded. "I can't explain it. I just feel a heaviness, like a shadow over me." The woman looked thoughtfully between Bridget and Paddy. "Tell me," she began, "have you made any changes around your home recently? Any new routines?" Paddy thought for a moment. "Well, not that I can think of." Bridget's brow furrowed. "Wait, we did start dumping the wash water out back instead of by the road. It's closer to the house." The woman nodded knowingly. "That might be it." "What do you mean?" Paddy asked, puzzled. "In these parts, it's said that the good folk, the fairies, travel along the paths near our homes. Disposing of water carelessly can disrupt their way or even offend them." Bridget looked skeptical. "The fairies? Surely that's just old stories." "Stories often have roots in truth," the woman replied. "Whether you believe or not, perhaps it wouldn't hurt to change your ways." Paddy shrugged. "If there's even a chance it could help, we'll do it." The woman smiled warmly. "Good. And maybe leave a small offering, a bit of bread and milk, at the garden's edge as a peace offering." They agreed, and that evening, Paddy and Bridget carefully poured the wash water away from the house and left a plate with a slice of fresh bread and a small cup of milk at the end of the garden. The next morning, Bridget woke up feeling different. The heaviness had lifted, and she felt more like herself than she had in months. "Paddy!" she called out, excitement in her voice. He rushed in, concern etched on his face. "What is it? Are you all right?" She beamed at him. "I feel good, really good." He broke into a grin. "That's wonderful." Over the following days, Bridget continued to improve. Her cheeks regained their rosy hue, and the light returned to her eyes. Paddy couldn't believe the change. One evening, as they sat together watching the sunset, Bridget turned to him. "Do you think it was really the fairies?" He chuckled. "Well, I wasn't sure I believed in such things, but something's made a difference." She smiled thoughtfully. "Maybe there's more to this world than we can see." From then on, they made sure to respect the old ways, disposing of water carefully, leaving small offerings now and then, and taking a moment to appreciate the wonder around them. A few weeks later, Paddy spotted the elderly woman again while walking through the village market. "Excuse me," he called out, hurrying to catch up with her. She turned, her eyes twinkling. "Hello again, Paddy." "I wanted to thank you," he said earnestly. "Bridget is doing so much better." She placed a hand on his arm. "I'm glad to hear it. Can I ask, who are you? I haven't seen you around before." She gave a mysterious smile, just someone who believes in the old ways. With a nod, she disappeared into the crowd. Paddy stood there for a moment, pondering. Perhaps she was more than she seemed, a guardian of sorts, or maybe even one of the good folk herself. Returning home, he found Bridget tending to the flowers, humming a cheerful tune. "Everything all right?" she asked, noticing his thoughtful expression. "Better than all right," he replied, slipping an arm around her waist. "I was just thinking how lucky we are." She leaned into him. "That we are." And so, life returned to normal, or maybe a little better than normal for Paddy and Bridget. They never forgot the kindness of the stranger or the lesson that sometimes it's the simplest changes that can make the biggest difference. So there you have it, a tale of mystery, gratitude, and the magic that lingers in the corners of our everyday lives. Maybe it's just a story, or maybe there's a bit of truth woven in. Either way, it's a reminder to keep our hearts open to the possibilities that surround us. Thanks for listening to the story of Paddy Corcoran's wife. If you enjoyed it, please like, share, and subscribe to Modern Storytelling for more magical tales. Until next time, remember, the smallest gestures can bring about the greatest changes. Keep the magic alive.